Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Let's Go Racing Motorsports Report. I am Mike Babicz, your host, and yes, the Cubs won. They wrapped it up, the wild card series, and now they're heading north over the border to play Milwaukee, starting on Saturday. Time to be determined. So we want to thank the folks that help get us on the air each and every week. B&L Office Furniture, Scott Carpenter, Game Day Men's Health of Libertyville and Kenosha, Steve Sinclair and the Bumper to Bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Cars, Great Lakes Dragaway, Pink Roofing, Whitmore's Towing and Car Repair, Fox Lake Harbor, Force One Performance Parts, the Hunt Club of Richmond. We were out there last week, had a great time. Had a great turnout, had about, probably 30 cars all together, some race cars that were there, just had a really, really good time. The weather was fantastic, and it's going to become an annual event. That was the second time we did it, and we're going to be doing it again in September of 2026. The Bumper to Bumper of Midwest, Bodycraft, Mark and Tony Maglio, MLS Auto Clinic, Eddie and Debbie Boyd, Lake County Hose and Equipment, Bill Fusting, Goodwin Performance, Hartnell Chevrolet, Culver's of Paddock Lake, Jack's Helmets of, and that's Jack Eschbach, Kaylee Burns of Revel Bell Salon in Kansasville, that's my granddaughter, Midwest Motor Coach and Olson Transportation. They provide the transportation for the Lake County Honor Flight. That'll be taking a trip up a week from this coming Friday, a week from tomorrow. They'll be going up to Mitchell Airport and spending 3 days in Washington, D.C. They sent out a notice today that with everything going on and the shutdown, so far all is good, and they are still planning on taking the 3-day trip to Washington, D.C. next weekend. Also, A-Main Apparel and Diecast, Garrett Tennyson, Thomas Guard, IT, John Hatterline, attorney at law, Cabins on the Lake up there in Friendship, Wisconsin. 5-Star Race Car Bodies, Carl and Corey Schultz and Daniel Sanchez, and Impressions Count. I want to thank them for all of their help. And we're going to get John, bringing him into the program now from Great Lakes Dragaway with our weekly. And my goodness, I mean, last week he had 2. Now he's got 3.
Yeah, I've got a couple special guests with me here because I'm out at Great Lakes Dragway, and I thought I'm going to wrangle up a couple of the drivers so we can talk to them here a little bit.
Sounds great. And introduce us to your guests.
Okay, right next to me is Kyle Davis here. He's one of our Bruce City Gasser members. He's probably one of our young guns that races with us, and he raced with us, the group, the Bruce City Gassers. And then next to him is Brad Keller, who's going to be racing this weekend with the Wisconsin Outlaw Series. So he'll be racing with us this weekend, and all of us will be there probably.
And it sounds like things are going on tonight, right?
Yeah. And then it's testing tonight, Sticky Thursdays. So they do the track prep for drag radios and slicks only tonight. And then we also had the water truck in here. I see pouring a bunch of water on the clay for this weekend for the snowmobiles that are racing.
All right, so we're finally going to get the snowmobiles out there. And when do you know anything about when they're supposed to be making their runs? Will that be Saturday and Sunday, or
Friday and Saturday? So Friday 10 o'clock they're going to have a registration opens. Tomorrow 3 p.m. is 5 p.m. is the driver's meeting. 6 p.m. is the first round of qualifying, and then 8 p.m. is the second round of qualifying. And then on Saturday, they're going to have their driver's meeting at 4 p.m. 5 p.m. will be the first round of eliminations, and then the rest of the eliminations will be to be determined as they figure out how the rounds go through.
Okay. And what about on the quarter mile? Do you know the schedule on there?
They're going to have a drivers meeting on that for the I believe it's 10:30, right, for the Outlaw Series, and then the track will probably go hot after that, 11 o'clock or so, and then we'll be racing all day through Saturday. So should be a pretty busy weekend again.
All right. Well, let's start off. I'm gonna kind of sit back here because I just got off a flag football field and had to drive from North Chicago to get out here and all that good stuff. So, John, I'm going to let you interview your two guests. Talk to them about what they do up there at Great Lakes Dragway and what we'll see them doing this weekend. Go ahead. Take it away, John.
Okay, I'll start out with Kyle here. Kyle, how long have you been racing, and what was your inspiration to get to start racing here?
I've been racing for about 3 years now. I'm the son of Mark Babicz, so my dad and John started the Brew City Gassers, so I had a lot of, time to get into cars. But I'm loving it now. I got a 67 Nova wagon. I'm actually racing it tonight. Put a new motor in it this last year, so just kind of getting it going and testing and tuning it.
What kind of times are you expecting to see out of that Nova when you get it dialed in?
I'm hoping low 10s.
Low 10s, which would be pretty good. Yeah. And then, Brad, how about you? Why don't you tell me about your car and when you started racing and what do you think about the whole series, how it's going on here?
My name is Brad Keller. I race with the Wisconsin Outlaw Series. I've been racing since I got my license, so a long time ago. I've been coming to Great Lakes since I was like 17 years old. 49 now, youthful 49. Same Mustang that I was racing back then is what I race now. It obviously progressed into something that is, I had dreams of back at that moment that I'm living now. So I race in the Mean Street. It's a 530 index 8th mile class. And there's two other classes in the series. There's an outlaw street class, and then there's like the outlaw class, which is like the anything goes type deal. And we'll be racing that series all day on Saturday.
And it's going to be the finals, right? The finals.
This is the final race, yeah, and it's a points series, so it's pretty bunched up at the top, and I'm gonna have to run blocker for my friend Joe Riccio.
There you go.
So you mentioned that it is a points race. I mean, and I know point systems. My background is mainly in oval track, and just about every division has a different type of a point system. What about the points that you're running for this weekend? I mean, sometimes you can, like in our case, you'll get points for qualifying, you'll get points for a heat race, you'll get points in the feature or the B main or whatever the case may be. Maybe if you could kind of, capsulize how the points work for you guys.
Sure. We get points for qualifying, depending on where you qualified. So say like number one qualifier gets 100 points, and then you take 10 points down from there. So number two qualifier would get 90, 80, and so forth. So there's qualifying points that you could, you go number one qualifier, you could make a big jump on, a guy that didn't maybe make the top 10 qualifying, so you'll gain 100 points on him. And then it's 100 points each round. You go through the eliminations. And I believe that there's extra points for if you made every race through the entire series. So if you entered every race, you get extra points for that. So, I mean, there's a lot on the line in this last race, and there's going to be some dogs out there fighting over the top spot.
Now, obviously you're finishing up at Great Lakes Dragway. Where else did the series run during the course of the summer?
This series was completely dedicated to Great Lakes Dragway.
Okay.
We had, I believe it was 6 races, and it's basically once a month through the through the whole summer. So from, I think our first race was in May, but we have racers coming from all over the Midwest and further. We have friends from Iowa, Minnesota, obviously Chicago. So I mean, there's people that travel pretty far to come race the series.
Okay. and the gentleman that's right to you in the middle. That makes it easy for me.
Kyle.
Kyle. Kyle, what about your runs this weekend? I mean, is there points involved for you, or is it pretty much just racing for racing?
I'm just racing for racing, just exhibition stuff, and just getting my car dialed in and just having fun.
Okay, and how long have you been racing?
About 3 years now.
What got you interested? What gave you the spark?
My father, and going fast as a kid on dirt bikes and motorcycles. And then when I finally turned 18 in high school, I saved up through high school to buy a car. And I ended up with the 67 Nova I have now. And just over time working and saving money, and was able to luckily with my dad knowing a lot of people, and we were able to build a motor, and I was a part of building the motor, and I just got into it like through that, and I'm hooked now.
Yeah, he had confided in me. He had confided in me that he was disappointed with his dad's performance, and he wanted to do a little bit better than him. So that's why I wanted to build his own car.
I was going to say, is that Dad back there now?
Yeah, I got to come in here and I got to protect my name here. Yeah, this is the boy that's off the old block here.
There you go. I'll tell you, I don't know if we've had four guys in one room up there at Great Lakes before. You're doing pretty good here, John.
Yeah.
What about the schedule? I mean, you talked about the drivers meeting and that. The weather forecast that I've been seeing so far is it's supposed to be really nice. I mean, tomorrow they were flirting some of the forecasts I saw with 90s for tomorrow, and pretty close to it. And for the 3rd of October, I mean that's pretty good. Do you guys like the warmer temperatures, or do you like it a little bit? I see Kyle already shaking his head no. Do you like it a little bit cooler?
Yeah, well, it's just like it's if you think about it, go out and run around the track at you remember back in the day when you used to run a lot when you were a kid. What would you rather run in, the fall, or would you rather run in 90-degree weather?
There you go. Well, and one thing I can tell you, like earlier I mentioned, I just got off a flag football field refereeing, and as the sun went down, it definitely cooled off. And it's a lot cooler out there now than it was even at 4:00 this afternoon.
Sure.
And now with you guys, you mentioned you have qualifying runs, and then the different eliminations in that. I mean, you could have a lot of difference from what the track and the conditions you qualify in to what you race in later on.
Yeah, I mean, and I was going to say, ask Brad about that. That's kind of a challenge for those guys because they have to run an index, like it's a 5:30 index in the 8th mile. Well, now you tune your car in the heat of the day, and now it starts getting colder out where the car wants to make a little bit more power. Now you got to, compensate for that and not try to break out and run that 5:30 index. So yeah, it's a little bit tougher for those guys. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree 100%. Yeah. Once it cools off, they're a different animal, and if you're right on the 5:30 or 5:30 and some change. Come later rounds in the evening, there's a good chance you're going to break out because the weather's going to come around, and all of a sudden you're running like a 5:28, then you're done.
Is there a way you as a driver can try to not break out? Can you control that right foot a little bit and maybe not give it quite so much power? Or I know you guys a lot of times shift. Can you shift a little differently? Is there a way to try to keep that under control?
Yeah, for me, the way is how close the opponent in the other lane is to me. I mean, if he's a little bit far back, as I get to the stripe, I'll just, lean off the gas a little bit if I know I'm right on the cusp. But if we're door handle to door handle, I mean, our nature is to keep it down, and I'm not going to risk, stabbing the brake and getting passed up if it's that close, so I'll roll that dice, and if I break out, I break out. But just the nature of what we do, I mean, if we're door handle, I'm keeping it down. There's no doubt.
There you go. Well, since we got Dad in here, Dad, when Kyle came up to you and said, I want to go racing, what was your reaction? And
I was excited, Mike.
Most dads are when their son wants to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's nice too, because when you get older, a lot of my friends and stuff, they don't have something to do with their dad. So it's cool that we have something to share and work on and stuff. So
it's a lot of work on both of us, to be honest with you. It's expensive. Dad doesn't pay for everything. He's got his own job, so it's a little tough on him, but the car's pretty much dialed in, but it is a group effort. The wife even, she tells us what to do, the wife. She's like a supervisor.
Yeah. Kyle, I always let folks thank sponsors, their crew members, people that are on their team, even if they've got a family pet that helps them, during the course of the year. Now is your chance to get all that out there, Kyle.
For sponsor wise?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
I'm a Bruce City gasser, and I mean, I don't really have any sponsors. One of the thing about your sponsors is I actually, growing up through high school, the job that helped me get my car was Richmond Hunt Club. I worked there for almost 5 years. So I heard you say that at the beginning of the show, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're still very much involved. Sandy and her husband, they do a lot out there to help promote the sport. And, next year, it's usually one of the last Thursdays in September. We have a car show out there, and I do the podcast from there. So I realize, you guys are racing tonight, but maybe next year, if you happen to be off that night, that last Thursday in September, you can come on out and and enjoy that and talk some racing. I mean, we had a lot of folks there, and I apologize. The gentleman that's sitting next to Kyle,
Brad. Yep.
Brad, your sponsors, folks that you would want to thank getting to racing.
I appreciate it. Yeah, my family, so my two brothers, my brother Eric, my brother Kyle, they come to every race, help me out. My friend Bobby Grosh, he helps me out, and my friend Andy Goldberg. It's basically us four that run my whole operation. As far as businesses, Hyperactive Motorsports out of Fox Lake, Illinois, is a huge help. They help me with getting parts and things like that, and tech support. And then Pro Chargers, Superchargers, because I run a Pro Charger on my car, and they help me out as well.
Okay. Well, I want to tell you guys about an event that's coming up, and I think Great Lakes, so the dragway will be pretty much, closed down for the winter by then. It's November 8th. It's called the Midwest Racers, and Nathan Crane, one of the drivers for the wingless sprint cars in the Wisconsin Wingless Series, puts this event together. It's up in Waukesha. It's at a go-kart facility. I've been up there and seen it, and it's unbelievable. And they have drivers from all different kinds of racing that end up racing against each other and just having a great old time. So if you all aren't doing anything, it's on a Saturday. It's November 8th. Get in touch with Nathan Crane. You can go to his website or his Facebook page, and he's got all the information in there. And it's really a lot of fun. I mean, they've had NASCAR drivers that have shown up and run in this thing. And I do definitely think they've had drag racers that have run in it too. It's a little bit of everything.
Do they provide the go-karts?
Yep, they provide the go-karts. It's at K1. I think it's called K1.
K1 Speed.
Yep, K1 Speed.
Oh, they're probably the new electric ones, which are really fast.
Yeah, these get moving pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you, some of the best racing of the whole evening, and they have a lot of racing, is when the women get out there in the powder puff. I mean, there's some serious racing, and then the women sometimes race against the guys. And speaking of that, nice segue there, John. What's going on with the Battle of the Sexes? I know it was last night. It was Wednesday night, and where are things at?
They were 9-6, and I believe last night, I don't know if the women got it or not, which would have taken them 9-7. They still got a couple weeks to catch up. I didn't see Sarah out here. I was going to ask her tonight, but I didn't see her. I didn't know how it actually went. I didn't see her posted on Facebook yet. So I'll get those numbers for sure for you next week. We'll see where we're at.
All right, sounds good. Well, Kyle, did you say you're actually going to make some runs tonight still?
Yeah, I'll probably do 1 or 2 more.
Okay, and so what? Again, what kind of a vehicle or what kind of car would people see if they ran out to Great Lakes Dragway right now and got out there to watch you run? What would they see? What would they want to see? The car, kind of car.
It's a 1967 Nova wagon, so it's a little more rare. Like you see a lot of 67 coupes and stuff, but me personally, I've only seen like a good handful of them, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted it so bad, is because it was a rare car. My dad had a 67 coupe, and I remember we were at a car show and I saw one and I was like, I need to have it. So you'll see a low 10-second Nova running if they come check out at Great Lakes Dragway.
It's a station wagon, Mike.
One. Yeah.
It's a 4-door station wagon Nova. They're very rare.
And
I was going to say, I don't recall seeing too many of those.
Rare car.
So. And then Brad, when are you going to be making your runs in the morning or afternoon?
I actually bring my car on Saturday, so I won't be doing any testing. It's kind of I race the series every race this year, so I have it pretty sorted out where I know what it'll run. So I'm going to show up at game time, and when the bell rings, that's when I'll perform.
Okay. Well, and I can't let you guys out of here. I know you guys are, I believe you're all from north of the border. I could be wrong. But, we got the Brewers are going to play the Cubs this weekend starting off. So I got to see, you guys think, the Brewers are going to win or the Cubs are going to win. So we'll start with.
I'm a Cubbies fan.
All right. We got one Cubbies.
I live in Wisconsin too, though.
Well, that's okay. There's a few Cubs fans that live in Wisconsin. They'll see a lot of them this weekend up there at American Family Field. John, what about you? Who's going to win?
I'm not really into the baseball stuff too much. So, for me, I'm just pretty much into the racing stuff.
John's into badminton.
Yeah, no.
Kyle, what about you?
I'm right in the middle. I have been to growing up, I've been to a lot of Brewer games. I've been to a lot of Cub games, and I can't figure out my favorite team because I really like the Brewer Stadium. It's easy to get in and out of. Nothing like a good Wrigley game, but I would say I'm right in the middle. I just would like to see either team win, to be honest with you.
Well, and it's kind of like racing. You just want to see a good race.
Right.
You want to see that side-by-side finish like Brad was talking about.
Right.
You don't want to see somebody, blow it out. And,
It's cool to see both teams doing good this year, so it should be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. All right. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate your flexibility with the scheduling tonight. We're going to let Kyle get out there and make a run or two. And, again, appreciate it. Maybe I'll sneak out there. I keep telling John, I'm going to get out there. Well, the wife is out of town, John.
There you go.
Perfect. And so now I got the perfect excuse. I can go up there and she won't know.
And you can see that, and watch the snowmobiles go 160 miles an hour and 500 feet, right?
She went last year and she was impressed too. So I'll be looking forward. I actually, Saturday's probably when I'm going to make it up because I got to actually ref a high school football game tomorrow. But Saturday I don't have nothing. So I think I'll probably sneak out and see you guys on Saturday.
Sounds good.
Take care, Mike.
Thanks, guys. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye. Again, that was the gang from Great Lakes Dragway. And, yes, they're still racing, and they got big stuff going on all weekend. And you got to, if you've never seen snowmobiles drag race on clay, get up to Great Lakes Dragway this weekend. They're going to be making runs tomorrow. They're going to be making runs on Saturday. Get up there and see them. It's unbelievable to see the speeds they get in a very short distance. It's unbelievable. So, our next guest, I believe, is going to be, if he's not there, or actually, I think I may have to make a phone call here for this one. Before I do that, I'm going to get some race results in here because that'll somewhat be a lead in to my next guest. Up at the Plymouth Dirt Track last Saturday night. It was the season finale for sprint car racing, basically for local sprint car racing and points racing. Logan Julian, 16 years old, won his 4th bumper-to-bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Car feature of the season. In the Akerite Auto 360 sprints, it was Christopher Clayton winning his first feature on Saturday night. The champion, though, the champion for the Plymouth Dirt Track was Kevin Karnitz, and the champion for the overall MSA series was Ben Schmidt. And in the bumper-to-bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Cars, it was Blake Nemi winning the overall championship, despite not winning a feature event. And in the Autometer powered by Gandrud Performance Wisconsin wingless sprint cars, Tyler Cuxhouse of Antioch, Illinois, scored his 3rd feature win of the season. The championship went to a guest that's going to join us in a little bit, Adam Taylor from Whitfield, Indiana, the overall championship. And in the 1175 Sports Complex and Eatery IRA Lightning Sprints, Mike New duplicated what he did in 2024. He won the season championship feature for his only feature win of the year. And he came out of retirement somewhat and won his only feature of the season last Saturday night in the season championship for the Lightning Sprints. The champion, though, is Brian Strain Jr. out of Paris, Wisconsin, just 16 years old. Well, we've got a guy that's joining us now. I always called him TJ Crimmings. He goes by Tim Crimmings now. You know, you get older and you get the gray hair and stuff, and sometimes you change the name. But Tim, welcome to the program. You hear me talking about all these young guns and all these young kids that are into racing, and I know that's something that we like to see, because it's the young guys that are going to keep the sport going. But you're still one of the unique ones because you're the guy using the Ford power plant.
Well, thank you first for inviting me, Mike, to your broadcast. And I sat in the stands back in the day at Slinger and Cedarburg, and the Mouse, when he drove Schwisters, there was no sound that matched that. And then Jim Hendricks and Frank Smith. So I knew when I went racing, it has to be Ford power.
There you go. Well, there's some other guy named Tony Stewart that was running a Ford sprint cars for a while too.
Yeah.
And, you still see that from time to time. Now, how long ago did you give up turning the steering wheel and turn into the car owner that you are today?
I do not own the car. I just built Wandra's motor and developed and designed it. Mike Wandra owns it and Tony, and I thank them for using my engine program. So,
Well, and you still have a major part in the whole deal, right?
Right. I maintain the motor. I build it, maintain it, and keep it running.
What are some of the differences? I'm a lay guy. I don't know a lot about, you could put a Ford up right now in front of me and you could put up a Chevy and whatever, and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I borrowed Tony a motor one time, and he said, man, that thing's got power. I got to have one of them. So that rest is history. I've been with him a long time already. And Kevin Karnitz had one of my motors when he had his own car. And he won a lot of heat races and features with that Ford, too. So
now you were running that Ford, but you and I were chatting on Saturday up there at Plymouth, and they had a nice visit with you and my wife, Kathy, and we had a nice picture that we got taken. Going back to the days when you were racing at that time, the Eastern modifieds, and you run against the MRA modifieds, some of those kind of eventually grew into the IRA modifieds, and as they say, the rest is history. Now you got the IRA sprint cars. But what were the differences back then as far as rules? And I know you would come down to Wilmot and run and do quite well sometimes with that Ford.
That was a small motor.
Right. And then sometimes the guys would come up to Plymouth And, guys like Mike Frost and Al Winker and even Daryl Dodd, I think, and some of those guys, they would do okay coming up to your place up in Plymouth, your neck of the woods. But was there a lot of difference between the two cars and the two series?
Well, when the modified, the 302 was a very small motor, very light motor. When Pogo built one car for me, he had to compensate with that to get the cross weight by moving the motor around, because he said that motor is light compared to Chevy. Well, now it's just the opposite. The 351 and the sprint car is a lot heavier than the Chevy. So, yeah, power-wise, they make a lot more power and torque, actually. And, I've ran Fords all my life. I worked at a Ford dealership and got through apprenticeship, went to a Ford Motor Company, and the guys that taught that were a big part of the Ford off-the-road parts. And, I just saw what was available through Ford parts and Boss blocks and cranks, and that's what I used. So that's where it's been that way. Our midget was a Ford. And Alex started driving after the mid-90s, and he had the Ford. My nephew had a 360. Scott Semmelman had my Ford in for a couple of years in the 360. He ran Wilmot a lot with the 410s with the Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And so, once they used one, they went, wow, I got to have one of them.
Now, we just had a group of drag racers on from Great Lakes Dragaway. And, sometimes you see cars and they, a car looks like a Nova, like
right.
I was going to run a 67 Nova tonight, station wagon even. And there's
Right.
not too many of those around. But are there a lot of Fords in drag racing? And is there a difference between the Ford and the Chevy? Or I don't know if Pontiac runs.
I started out at Great Lakes with my F100 Ford. I bought it brand new. And, it was fast. I ran the, bracket racing. And, a lot of Camaros and Firebirds and Barracudas learned that thing was faster than they were.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, it is a lot of fun. And I mean, we've actually had some jokes a little bit. And John, said that Randy up there at Great Lakes said, yeah, if some of the guys want to come up sometime. And we got some of the bandits thinking about taking their 4-cylinders up there to the dragway and running against each other on the drag strip. And that'd be a little different, I think. I don't know if you could run a modified against another modified on a drag strip. I don't know if that would work out.
I don't know if that would work. We bought a used modified from Mike Simcoe. And then when it came to motor time, what are we going to do? Well, I took the motor out of my pickup truck and put it in the modified. And Gary Diet switched over to the Chevy, and he had a fuel injection that was for sale for the Ford. We bought that. Now the rest is history. That's been since 1967.
Wow, that's great. And with today, whether it be the bumper to bumper IRA 410s or the Autometer Wisconsin wingless sprints, the crate motors there. Can't really put the Lightning sprints in there because those are motorcycle engines, and so they're locked in by it's got to be a motorcycle engine. But today, I don't think you're going to see somebody, if they blow a motor at the track, pull the motor out of their pickup truck and drop it in. I just don't see that happening today. What do you think, Tim?
Well, I watched Dick Trickle do that at Slinger. He blew up his motor in his Mustang, and they took the motor out of the pickup truck, and he won that night. And then they're all standing there, and one of them said, we got to put a motor back in the truck so we can go home. And that was another reason. When I saw that, I said, Ford's the answer.
There you go. What about, I know NASCAR and that is a lot different than your local short track. But what about some of the different moves that you hear about in NASCAR? It was a big thing when Toyota came in. And I'll never forget that when I was announcing at Milwaukee, the truck race that on a weekend, and they said, okay, we're going to have a big announcement. And they had this truck, back behind the track, back behind, the pit area, all covered up. And they said, there's only a few people that know what's going to be unveiled when they take the cover off. Well, it was a Tundra. And they were announcing that Toyota was, bringing the Tundras to the trucks.
Right.
And, it was big deal. Well, what about today in NASCAR and racing? I mean, in the old days when you watched a NASCAR race, and I guess I'm dating myself a little bit, you kind of, date myself that you wanted to watch the NASCAR race on Sunday because, as they said, if it wins on Sunday, it sells on Monday. And, you actually saw a car that looked like a car you could buy in the showroom. Now, those cars don't look like a car you can buy in the showroom.
Well, the Cup cars, that is a Ford, but I would believe the trucks run a crate motor. It's all the same motor.
Okay.
And I don't know about the other series. I'm a dirt guy. The only time I watch them when they race the trucks on the dirt, I watch that. And then when they go to Bristol and put dirt, I watch that. But I'm really busy keeping these motors all running, so I don't really get to watch a lot of NASCAR stuff anymore. But I did work with Roush Yates on these sprint car engines, Jeremy Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
He stole a lot of my stuff that I did at the beginning because I had the cam-driven fuel pumps and all that stuff. I had to make all that stuff because it wasn't available. Just like these blocks. I'd love to build a 410 aluminum block, but you can't even buy it from Ford.
Right.
They won't sell it to you. It goes to Shaver and that's it, and plus they're about $6,000 for the block. So I'd love to try a 410 Ford.
How many motors did you have out on the racetrack, whether it be at Plymouth or if you had any in any other series, did you have racing this year?
I only had Tony's, and Kevin had a Ford, and they never had spare engines. Like this year, Tony's is on its second season without touching it. And we're going to build a new one, but they were talking some rule changes, so we didn't do anything yet with the new one because we wanted to see you hate to build a motor and then they change the rules. And that was when I first started the 360. They didn't have rules for a Ford, and they kept bugging me, "Why don't you race the 360s at Beaver Dam?" And I said, "Not till they come up with rules for the Ford." And then Bear Prieshkin, Gary, he had a lot to do with developing them Ford rules because he was kind of a Ford guy. And the rule, I hate to say this, but the rules always attack the Ford. They favor Chevrolet. So it's always, I have to fight with them and say, "Well, why can't I run an aftermarket block? I'm going to run one out of a truck or a car, but they can run an after." I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but you always had to fight the rules on the Ford.
There you go. And I got to ask you this, and how young are you?
I'm 74, in July. I had a heart attack in May. That slowed me down quite a bit. So, and I don't know how much longer I can do this. I'm trying to get my grandson to help me with the engines, and he had interest, and then he kind of lost it. So, and my son, he quit racing. I quit racing in the mid '90s, and then Alex took over.
Mm-hmm.
And at Plymouth, they wouldn't let him race because he wasn't old enough. So Norbert Ostrowski from MRA called up, said, "Come down and run with us." So he ran wingless for the first couple of years with the MRA.
Yeah,
and that was a Ford. And that was a Ford, and they had a lot of fun. We went to Crown Point. We ran Wilmot and Crown Point, and that was a lot of fun. And actually, I think he learned more running wingless than winged. And then he bought Joey Palmisano's car, and we put a big bad Ford in it, and he was fast till the rules come after us, said that we can't have that thing. So.
Yeah, well, and actually, some names that you're mentioning there, Joe Palmisano is going to be on in a little bit, and we're going to be talking about the Badger Kart Club season championships this Sunday, and also the Southeastern Wisconsin Hall of Fame induction that'll be coming up in November. And Joe, actually, I'd have to do some digging. I got some some of those hot cards, those driver info cards. I found a stack of them when I was going through some stuff here at my house of Joe Palmisano and his modified. I'm going to have to, Sunday when I go up to Badger, I'm going to have to bring them along and give those to him because it's just kind of funny. I don't know how many he's got of those that I found. So, you talked about that you learned about working on a motor because you worked at a Ford dealership. What would
Yes.
you say to a young boy or girl? We got girls working on, as mechanics nowadays. What would you say to a young person that wants to get into racing, that wants to learn about building engines? What would you suggest that they do?
I worked at Marine Park as a fire and EMS instructor, and they got a good auto program, but they don't really get too much into rebuilding engines. And Roush Yates tried to do a thing, and they ran it a couple of years where you'd learn machining, and they just didn't enough people to, participate. So they got rid of everything, and they actually sold it to one of the technical colleges down in North Carolina. They sold the whole thing to them. But I don't know where you can do it. I guess, I'd love to have somebody come. I'll teach them how to build a Ford. They are different. You have to do different clearances, and you have to do things a little different with the Ford than the Chevrolet. And so, I don't know how you'd learn that.
Well, and I'll tell you, I know you mentioned that you don't own the car. You just, own the engine and you'll work on the engine. But sponsors that help to get your race team to the racetrack each and every week. Now's your time to go ahead and give them a plug.
Well, Dan and Paul at AEC, who used to work for Carl Wagner, they do all my machining, and they help me tremendously with machining and getting some of the stuff done. And then Tony's got Jake's Bowling in Brownsville, and the Meyer families, that's their shop, their trailer. They help Tony out a lot where we keep the car. And then he's got Bar Time near Campbell Sport. They support him. And then Mark's Tree Service, which Tony works for part-time. He supports Tony. And I'm glad they do that. And I'm glad they put their trust in my Ford engine program.
There you go. There you go. Well, again, and you're a good friend. Enjoy. I'm glad we got this to work out finally. And, we had a nice visit up there at Plymouth on Saturday. The weather was gorgeous. The crowd was fantastic. It was a lot of fun there at Plymouth. You guys probably won't hit the track again until the spring, I presume.
Well, they're planning on racing again, yes. And, I'm going to get one of the motor back and at least take it apart once. It hasn't been touched for 2 years.
There you go. Well, the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So,
right.
Well, again, Tim, I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate your friendship. It's been a lot of fun calling your races over the years, and I hope to see more of you in 2026.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on. And and like I say, Mike and Tony trust me with my engine program. It wouldn't be for them, I probably wouldn't be racing right now because they'll use it yet. And Tony, one time somebody wanted to trade him a Chevy. He said, absolutely not. And then one time my son was asked, is your dad ever going to run a Chevy? And he goes, when there's an atheist pope, he might.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, and if somebody wanted you to build a motor for them, they can give you a call. You'd build another motor for another car, wouldn't you?
Well, I had somebody individual wanted that, but right now I can't get the Engler injections unless, like Tim said, unless I cast 15 pair and you buy them all. Well, I can't do that. That's always been the problem with the Ford. When you need U joints and you need torque plates, you call these people up. Well, how many do you want? Well, they don't want to just make one.
Right.
They want you to make, buy a bunch of them. And when Roush Yates got into it to get rid of all their old cup engine stuff, they went and got the headers made, the torque plates, the drive shafts. That helped a lot. That made stuff available for the Ford. And then Tony, when he got into it, they just won't sell that stuff to you. So What do? You got to make it yourself.
There you go. Well, again, it's great to see you, Tim, and you have a great off season and a holiday season, and we'll see you in 2026.
You too, Mike. Thank you very much.
Yep. God bless. Bye-bye. Tim Crummings, a really, really nice guy, and we are going to get Tony Veneziano on the phone here. He is with SLS Promotions, and we're giving him. Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Good.
Okay, as soon as my boss tells me that you're sounding good, we're gonna get moving here. And welcome to the program. I think you're doing okay. Let's see.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. All righty. Well, we wanted to get you on tonight because even though last Saturday was the final IRA Sprint Car Show and the final point show for the Wisconsin Wingless, they're going to run a non-point show at LaSalle along with the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars. You've got two big sprint car shows yet to come, one in northern Illinois and one in southern Wisconsin before the snow flies. So tell folks a little bit about them.
Yeah, so coming up October the 18th, that's a Saturday night. That'll be LaSalle. First time the Outlaws have been there in about, I think, 12, 13 years. So it's been quite a while. Then go down up to Angel Park on Sunday night, October the 19th. That's a rescheduled race. It was originally supposed to be run back. I think it was June 9th. The original race was part of the Badger Triple that we had. We had Plymouth, Beaver Dam, and it was supposed to be Angel Park, but Mother Nature interrupted that one. So coming back to run that event here in October. So yeah, looking forward to having a couple fall events in Illinois and Wisconsin. It's not too often that late in the year you get to race up there.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. And I'll tell you, if the weather was like last Saturday up at Plymouth on October 18th and 19th, it's it's going to be fantastic. And the weather was great today. My wife and I had our 19th wedding anniversary yesterday. And when we got married 19 years ago, we got married at Lake Geneva Raceway on the last weekend the track was ever open. And it was like it was at Plymouth on Saturday. It was 80-some degrees with a blue sky on the 1st of October. Go figure.
Yeah, that's what we need all of October. We need Mother Nature to be a race fan late in the season.
Now, the World of Outlaws, there's been a few changes. Some drivers already kind of, jumping in and out of cars even before the season ends. But what about the point championship battle heading into LaSalle and Angel Park?
Yeah, so right now up at the top, David Gravel just having an amazing season. I mean, he's finished in the top 10, I think, all but 2 races this year, and they've run, 60-some races. He has something like 55 top 5s, I think, and up to about 15 wins. So he has about a 150-point lead over Buddy Copeland, who's having an amazing season as well. He's won, I think, about 11, 12 races now, the most he's won in his young career yet. So, there's still a chance for Buddy Copeland to catch him, but obviously you'd have to have some bad luck from David Gravel, which he really hasn't had this year. I mean, I think he crashed maybe one time this year. I don't remember him having a flat tire at all yet this year. So, you never know. Somebody could have some bad luck. It could tighten the points up, but, a little bit of gap between them. And then Carson Macedo's in third. So he's a little bit of a gap, about 100 points behind second place for him. So he's a little bit back. Then you got Logan Schuhart in fourth. And I believe it's Sheldon Hunchill rounding out the top 5. And then Donnie Schatz is 6, which is a little bit surprising, but obviously he's had kind of an interesting year. He's driven a few different cars here late in the season. So, been a little bit of a challenging year for him. And then 7th in points is Bill Baylog. He's won a couple races. I think he's up to 3 wins this year with the Outlaws. So he's had a great season, a lot of consistency. And obviously these 2 tracks, LaSalle and Angel Park, are places he knows. So look for Bill Baylog to be in contention both those nights. Yeah,
he even showed up for a bumper-to-bumper IRA sprint car show that was held this summer on an off weekend. It ended up an off weekend because the World of Outlaws got rained out. And his team actually drove, I think it was like 8 or 10 hours or something to get the car to Angel Park. And he just wanted to do it mainly to kind of, almost like a testing session. I mean, it was a race, and certainly he was trying to win the race, and he ended up finishing in the top 3, I believe. He just saw like, okay, I got a night. Angel Park's running. I want to get down there and I want to run it. And so I got some more notes. When we come back in October.
Yeah, because obviously everybody, the full-time Outlaws haven't raced there since 2016 was the last time. And, the only ones I want to say that have raced there with the Outlaws, Donnie Schatz for sure. David Gravel might have been on the tour then, maybe not. I'm not exact. I don't remember, but it's only a handful of Jason Sides that ran back then. Obviously, that's who Donnie Schatz is running for now. So they have some good notes coming back. But yeah, only a couple of guys have ran there with the Outlaws. A couple of guys have probably run some IRA shows. But yeah, it's a place where Bill Baylog having that experience definitely is going to come in handy.
That's for sure. And I know, you haven't even finished 2025. And you're maybe not ready to make any announcements for the 2026 schedule, but do you have any idea when that schedule might be released to the public eventually, going forward?
Yeah, it usually seems like the schedule comes out in November. It used to be in December around the PRI trade show, but then kind of kept getting pushed up. And now it seems like it's usually a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. So I know, once you kind of get to about early November when they have the World Finals in Charlotte, everybody starts getting pretty itchy for it. So usually a couple weeks after that. So if I had to guess, I'd say probably the middle of November. Hopefully the schedule should be out.
Okay. And where can folks go to get tickets, get information about LaSalle and Angel Park? Again, LaSalle, we're going to be there along. I'll be calling the Autometer Wisconsin Wingless Sprint Car portion of the show. And at Angel Park, it'll be the Badger Midgets. And our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to Eric Hunfeld, who had some surgery in the last couple of days and is recovering. And our prayers are with him and his family. And hopefully he's back behind the mic, later on this month up there at Angel Park. But where can folks go to get tickets?
Yeah, so they can go right to our website, slspromotions.com, or they can go to the World of Outlaws website, click on the schedule page, and they have links right there that'll take you to both events off their schedule page as well. So, yeah, definitely a good thing to go get your tickets in advance. That way on race day you don't have to wait in line. Just walk up with the tickets and walk right in.
All righty. Sounds great. Tony, always great talking to you. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at LaSalle in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, always fun. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Again, that was Tony Veneziano, and he handles a lot of the ticket arrangements. We're going to actually bring I'm going to throw this at Kent, my producer. I want to bring Joe and Adam both in together because we're starting to get a little short on time. So that's what happens when I didn't know we were going to have four folks from Great Lakes Dragway, but that worked out. So, Joe, we're just going to give you a couple quick minutes to give a plug about the Badger Kart Club and their finale on Sunday, and then also the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame induction that's coming up on November the 1st.
All right, yeah, everything's pretty much set for the induction. It's the November the 1st. We've got five good inductees: Brad Dahmer, Ted Dolan, Harry Neitzel, Kenny Richards, and Donnie Scheffler. Really happy about that. I think we got some good people that were chosen by everybody that voted for them for the induction. We're looking forward to it on November 1st. Brad actually talked to Brad Dahmer is going to have his super mod on display at the Hall of Fame exhibit. I think a few days before he's bringing the car in, so that should be kind of neat. It's going to be we're going to put it right next to Pete Ostrowski's super modified in there, so that's kind of a neat situation having two wing modifieds on display of inductees. I think that's looking forward to seeing that there. And
for tickets, where can folks go to get tickets for the induction?
The Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. There will be on the website. They have a mailing address for it to send for them. They're $25 a piece for the tickets, and they are going to go on sale very shortly. We've got we're looking forward to it, so it should be a good time.
And Sunday, I'm going to make a quick trip up to Dousman and call some Badger Kart Club racing for you, and looking forward to that. And that's season championships. And do spectators have to pay to get into Dousman, or is it free to come up there and watch the races?
Absolutely not. It's free to come and watch. We've got some nice bleachers to sit and watch. Actually, you can come and roam the pit area and talk to the drivers and the crews. And it's all free. If you want to bring your a picnic lunch, you can bring your own lunch. We do have a cafe there, also selling food. It's a great deal. The racing starts around 10 o'clock in the morning. It is our final points race. We've got a few tight points battles coming up, and also within the points too. There's a lot of drivers battling for the second or third place positions. We've got kid carters, anywhere from kid carters, 5 or 6 year old kids, to drivers that are in their 60s or 70s out there racing in different classes of karts. It's really fun. We average around 130, 140 entries each Sunday afternoon of racing. So it's a lot of fun there.
All righty. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you on Sunday, Joe. And I'm going to let you go now, and we're going to get a few words in with a guy. I don't know if his son has tried kart racing yet or not, Adam.
No, he hasn't not, but that's something we're getting into here come Christmas time, and his birthday's in November. So I actually grew up. I ran quite a bit at up at Dousman, so that's kind of cool to hear talk about.
Well, congratulations on the championship, the Autometer powered by Gandrud Performance Wisconsin Wingless Sprint Car Series title. I know we talked several times, and you always said, well, I wasn't really going for points, and then all of a sudden the points started falling, and then we decided, well, maybe we will go for points. And, the points fell by the way they worked out for you. And everything just seemed to come together for you this year.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, we came into this year with my rookie year, the non-wing stuff, planning on running 8-10 races, and Dennis Doherty and his sons, Andy and Dan, came to me, and they were like, we're doing good. We're leading points. You're winning. And they asked me if I wanted to run for the championship. And I was like, at this point, we might as well give it a shot. That was after 2 or 3 wins on the season. And, I can't be more grateful for them for what they've done for me this year. It wouldn't be possible without them and everybody that helps them sponsor wise and everything. Horizon Carpentry, Mongo Crane, Spankins. It's an unreal season for me, to be real. I didn't know what to expect coming into the season. But to walk out of the Wisconsin Wingless Series with 8 wins on the season with them, I can't ask for any more. I mean, to win the championship, it topped it all off.
Yeah, and the season's not over for you. You're going to do some racing this weekend, and I know we're going to see. I mentioned the wingless are going to be with the Outlaws at LaSalle October the 18th. So I know you'll be there. And that weekend, the Outlaws then go to Angel Park and run with the Badger Midgets. Are you going to be able to do double duty that weekend? Are you going to have a midget ride at the Angel Park too?
Yeah. So as far as this weekend goes, we're kind of taking an underdog to the big boys. We're taking our 604 to Terre Haute to run with USAC. But it's one place I've always wanted to run. And then Saturday we're heading over to Spoon River with the ASCT series, Steel Block series, to run. So, and then like you said, LaSalle, we'll be there running with that. And I'm trying to work on something for Angel Park on Sunday. It's not for sure yet, but I'd love to get one more showing up there this year.
Yeah, I mean, I was not aware until somebody was actually Eric, the announcer I just was mentioning. He was announcing at 190. You've got 35 feature wins in Badger Midgets and a championship in the Badger Midgets. I didn't realize you had so much success in the Badger Midgets. I mean, you're like the second winningest driver that's active right now. And so I would hope you'd be able to find a ride for that weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, I've I've got a couple different options, the 5X, Dennis and Aaron Jones and Larry Spray, that I won the championship with in 2023. I'm still running for them part-time here and there. Towards the end of the season this year, it's been a little bit less because of the wingless schedule and stuff. But if they don't want to do it, I've got another Badger car I can drive that Dave Alexander owns. So I'm hoping that we can do it. Angel Park's one of those places for me that is pretty special. It's one of the only tracks that I go to every time that I push onto the track, if it's a heat race or hot laps or a feature or whatever, that I push on and I still get chill bumps every time I do it. There's just nowhere else that that's that special to me. From winning my first race there to being the first KO Classic winner there, if you can go there and win, it's something special.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we've had a couple of folks give some notes here on our Facebook notes. I don't know if you saw that too, Adam. Dave Rampage says you're welcome to use their garage, and congratulations on the championship. And Lonnie Roy is tuned in from, I believe he's down south somewhere, and he won a championship at Angel Park back in 2005, and he's hoping to make it back up this direction and do some racing one day. And we're starting to get short on time, Adam, but I know that there's one thing, and I don't think I'm letting the cat out of the bag. I even mentioned it on Saturday at Plymouth. You've been done so well that you've got a ride next year in a Silver Crown car, at least probably for the entire Silver Crown season. And so that could have some effects on you defending your title in wingless. Just because I know Silver Crown doesn't have a lot of races, maybe about 10 or 12 or whatever, but a lot of them end up, you're at a track for 2 days. You go to Du Quoin or you go to the Springfield Mile, sometimes you're qualifying and practicing one day and then you're racing the next. So it kind of ties you up unless there happens to be a short track in the local vicinity that you can run. Tell us a little bit about that ride that you got together and folks that you want to thank for giving you that opportunity.
Yeah, so Dave Alexander with Horizon Carpentry, that's on the Wisconsin wingless car. He got a Silver Crown car, bought out a team, and it's actually a team that I'm very familiar with. When I first got in midget racing, it was on asphalt, but when I first got into it, I was in the shop with the same car that the Silver Crown car was in, so I know all the stuff's top of the line equipment. So I'm looking forward to that. It's Silver Crown cars are one of the things I've always wanted to drive. It's, I grew up, my mom's side of the family grew up around midget racing. And then when I got into racing, I always wanted to race midgets. And then I found out what Silver Crown racing was. And it was something I always wanted to do. So I'm excited about it. I'm grateful for the opportunity that Dave Alexander is given me to do this. We're not doing the full Silver Crown schedule. We're doing all the dirt stuff. So that opens up a little bit on the wingless side, and midget side of stuff. But I'm really looking forward to next year. There's a lot of racing to present itself in all different types of forms of racing on dirt. But I want to finish getting through this year. We still got, like I said, a couple races this weekend. The LaSalle show, maybe Andrew Park. We've talked about going out to the West Coast to do some of the USEC shows out there with the midget. Still got a handful of shows left to go this year, and then sit down and talk with everybody and see what next year presents.
Yeah, and then Santa Claus has got to bring that cart for your son, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely something Santa's got to do. We're looking like maybe like junior sprints or something like that. He wants to go right into the lightning sprints, which 7 years old is a little young maybe. But,
we got a 13-year-old, Colin Sivia, the rookie this year, 13.
Let me tell you, my son Corbin looks up to Colin like he's his hero. Colin is a great kid. But yeah, so we're definitely gonna get Corbin into something here. Get him something this winter, get him going, and even if it's just at one of the local tracks around here, US 24, Kankakee, something like that. Just get his feet wet, see if it's something he wants to do, and go from there.
There you go. Well, Ed, and I hope I don't butcher his last name, Wilhelmi, I think it was.
Yep.
He said you're going to do quite well in the Silver Crown. He wishes you the best, and he said you'll be fine in that Silver Crown ride. So he wanted to pass that along to you too. So, this has been a great show. I always enjoy talking to you. To me, I've been around a lot of champions over the years. You are at the top of the list. You are a champion's champion. And what you did at Plymouth the night of the Watson, when I asked for drivers to come over and visit with the fans, the guy that drove 4 hours to get there was the first one to come over and visit with the fans. And you get it, Adam. You get it. You understand it. And I really hope that all the drivers out there would get it and understand it, because if it weren't for the fans, you wouldn't have any place to race. I wouldn't have any place to announce. Your sponsors wouldn't have any place to get exposure to their business. I mean, it all comes together because of the fans.
No, yeah, definitely. And I thank you for that, Mike. I don't know, this is the third or fourth time I've been on your show, and I appreciate every time you bring me on. But yeah, like you said, I drive like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. Cedar Lake was 8.5 hours for me. But yeah, if it wasn't for the fans, we wouldn't be doing this. And this year was 31 years I've been involved in racing, and if it wasn't for the fans, there's no way I could have been doing it this long. And anytime any fans want to come over to the pits, if I'm still there and it's not too late, come over, see me. I'll make time, talk with you, give you an autograph card, sell you a shirt, whatever it is. I'll make time for them.
There you go. Well, that's the way it needs to be. So good luck this weekend. I'll probably be watching on Flow. I think both races will be on Flow, so I'll be watching on Flow. Now, I know you're from Indiana, but as you can see, I got my Cubs shirt on here. So we got the Cubs playing Milwaukee now, for the weekend for the next series, the best of 5. a guy from the Hoosier State, who are you going to cheer for, the Cubs or the Brewers?
Well, I mean, I was born in Illinois. Never really got into watching baseball much, but if for me, if I had to say, I would say Cubs.
All right. Sounds good. Well, good luck this weekend, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you on the 18th at LaSalle, and who knows, maybe we'll be chatting in Victory Lane again. All right. That's going to wrap it up for this week's show. Thanks to all my guests. Thanks to Kent for being very flexible. Again, get out, support your local racing. Great Lakes Dragaway is still racing. And make sure you plan on attending at LaSalle coming up October the 18th and Angel Park on October the 19th. So until we see you next time, a pleasant evening, the best of tomorrows. Remember, kids, just say no to drugs. Thanks. Good night. God bless. Happy anniversary, honey. Let's go racing, everybody. And go Cubs.